Good morning, everyone. I'm back with another process video. As you can see, this one is again going to be 6x8 pocket pages, working on yet more photos from Scotland. These will also be from Edinburgh. And while we were there, we found the Old Calton, I believe is how you say it, Old Calton Burial Ground. And it's a very old cemetery, kind of a little bit off the main area of the city. But it's open to the public. People are free to walk through there. And when we went, we knew there, or had heard that there were some somewhat famous burials there, but I really hadn't researched it further than that, so I didn't know what to expect. We actually found David Hume, the famous Scottish philosopher, is buried there. So that was a way cool experience, and I have this picture. My other pictures are, I have one 4x6, so that's going to have to go here. I have two 3x4s, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do those in the bottom pockets. Maybe like this. This has such a deep blue that I think it might help offset what's in the other picture, to have it kind of in this corner and then have the big one over here. Now, my problem with this picture is I ordered it before I had decided to do this as 6x8 pocket pages. I thought I was going to do a 12x12 album, and then changed my mind. But I had already ordered the picture. So, and as you can see, it has a very metallic finish. That is from the developing that you can select through Nation's Photo Lab. Their metallic printing is like nothing else I've ever seen. It is gorgeous. So if you ever want to try that out, please do. And I really think it enhances this photo, just the color and the detail that's on the tomb there. But since it's 5x7, it doesn't really fit this. So I'm going to have to trim off a little bit to get it, to be 6 inches wide. So I'm kind of a little sad about that. But luckily, I'm not going to lose anything too major. It's just going to be a little bit of this curve probably here, maybe a little on this side, and that's not too bad. So I'm going to jump in and get started with all of that. So I have picked out my background paper over here and cut it to size. And one thing I wanted to point out is that if you are using at least the pocket pages that come from Simple Stories, they're not exactly 6x8. They're about 6 1/8 by 8 1/8. Actually, they're more like 8 1/2 lengthwise. Sorry, that's my printer resetting. So if you want it to fit tightly, you do have to cut it that way. So I always go 6 1/8 and then 1/8 1/8. You may have to try it out, and then different page protectors are different sizes. I've noticed that other brands like the Echo Park are a little more true to size, in my opinion. So what I was printing over there at the time was this. I love Pinterest, and so I have a whole board that's all about 6x8 pages. And I really liked the idea of this side where you've got that full 6x8 page. And what are you going to do with it? Now, this photo is, of course, vertical in orientation, whereas mine is horizontal. That's not a problem for me. What I liked is this kind of title here on top, some words of some kind, and then it appears they stamped right on the photo. I'm not sure if I want to do that because this is kind of dark here. I do have both white and gold ink that I could use, but I don't know that I want to mess with the photo. And then a little chipboard word phrase here, and then it's really hard to see, but they use some kind of transparent or white washi down here. So there were elements that I liked, and I want to figure out, can I fit those in here? Now, the other thing I did was, this is very yellow, but it brings out kind of the cream tones and yellow tones over here. But I don't have anything like that over here. So I did cut a 3x4 piece of matching cardstock, and I have some of those flips that go in here. So I think I might try to work this in and do my journaling on a flip, or add something extra in there with another 3x4 card. I'm not exactly sure, but just to bring that in, because otherwise it feels like maybe it doesn't match if I don't bring in some of that yellow somewhere. And plus it's got, this nice metallic aspect to it, and I think that adds a little pop. So I'm going to work on that as well. Now, these are the items that I pulled that I thought maybe I could use on this side. So I've got a bunch of these wood veneers. These are all travel related, so I'm not sure that any of these would work. I don't remember everything that's in there, but I'm going to look and see. I've got these travel small word stickers and phrases from Pretty Little Studio. Also from Pretty Little Studio, these gold words and phrases, and I thought that might work nicely with that yellow tint. And then I have these stickers, and I was thinking about working this in somehow because, you know, since we didn't know this was there, we kind of walked around the bend on this stone path, and there it was, huge, right in front of us. So it was like, it literally stopped me in my tracks that moment, and I freaked out because I knew who he was. I've studied his work. So that was a perfect moment for me. So I'm going to see what I can do with those. To bring in some of the gray elements here, as well as on this side, I think I'm going to go with this washi. It's very thin, and it does have a stripe, but I think it's fairly subtle, and it won't detract too much from the dot pattern or from these colors. So I think I'm going to use that. And the beauty of washi is that if I decide that I don't like it, I can remove it. This paper is pretty thick, good quality, so I don't think it would rip if I had to lift it up. And I don't think I want to wrap it completely. I think I want some of the yellow showing. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of go like 3/4 of the way. Oops, it's slightly off. Let's get that even. There we go. And I kind of liked the little unevenness of the ripped edge of the washi. You can see that there. I like that it's not totally even. And then I think I'm going to do the same up here, but a little bit shorter maybe. Finding the start of this is always a challenge. So maybe about that much. And then we'll go the other way. Right up next to the photo. There we go. And again, I like that ripped look, so I'm not going to get out my scissors and cut that or anything. I'm going to leave it like that. All right. Now I'm not sure that I like that so short. But we'll see, because maybe part of that will end up being covered up with something. You never know. So I'm going to look through my wood veneer and see if I can find anything in here that will work. All right, so interesting thing here. I decided to put down that perfect moment sticker. You can't see it very well on the yellow. I mean, I think you can when you're turning the page once it's in there, but you know, from this distance, not so great. When I tried to pull it up, the gold started coming off of the dots on the paper, so it has to stay. I may eventually cover it up with something, I don't know, but for now we're going to leave it. And I did add this Discover the World sticker, and then I'm going to put this little geotag with a heart right next to that there, which I think will serve nicely, because there is, you know, there are some hints of this kind of light beige in the wood grain color, so I think that'll work. So I'm going to attach this here. A little bit of this glue goes a long way, so I don't want to overdo it. This is the glue that I'm using, by the way. There you go. All right, so we're going to take that little wood veneer and we're going to set it right like that. Now you can see that there is a little bit of glue around the edge. That dries clear, so you won't see that once it's dried. So far fairly happy except for this, and we'll see what happens with that eventually, but for now I'm going to leave that. Now I'm going to figure out what the heck am I going to do down here. I did add another phrase down here. It says adventure is worthwhile. Now I had to overlook this because worthwhile is one word and they listed it as two, but I'm going to let my type A go on that and just use it. And then I found in my stash I have these puffy stickers from Evolicious. I'm going to use this heart down here, I think, to offset that one. And so they're kind of matchy-matchy. And then from a design standpoint, I know that odd numbers are better. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to find some little doodad to add to this so that there are 3. So I don't know if that's going to have to be right above this one, so it's 2 in 1, or over here, I'm not sure. I do have this other heart that's white with that same kind of color in it that might work. I don't really want to use another geotag because I already have that on there, so it might end up being this one. Something that I forgot to point out was I had decided I didn't like the washi where it was more to the left and wrapped around the back, so I did pick that up and move it to the center. Hopefully you noticed that. But if not, I did do that. Now, I was so focused on this page, I kind of forgot about this page over here. So what I decided to do was I am going to use a flip over here. So this will actually sit like this. It'll flip up. And to bring in the yellow, I'm going to put that on top. So this will go here. I used some of the same washi, ripped edges just like that to bring it all together. And then the phrase I found says, never stop exploring. And thank goodness I didn't, because otherwise I wouldn't have found this. And then when I was digging through my flare options, I found this. And I figured that would mimic the hearts that I have, but still bring in the black and white elements from those phrases. So I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to put that kind of right in the middle, I think. Yeah, like that. So that's how that card will be. Don't know if I'm going to ink these edges yet, so for now I'm just going to put it in here as it would appear so I can get an idea of what it's going to look like. So once that's adhered, it'll be like that. You'll flip up and you'll see that picture. Now I need to find a journaling card to go in here because I definitely want to tell the story of how we found this. So that's up next. I found this journaling card in my stash. This is an old one, I believe from Stampin' Up! When they were still doing Project Life. It's red on the other side. That obviously doesn't match. So we're going to go with the gray side. But I think it's quite elegant here with this, and that kind of brings in some of the more serious elements here and the refined aspect of all these old grave markers. So I think I'm going to go with that one. And I am going to ink the edge of this one just so it's not kind of so stark against the other photos. And this is my Sahara sand ink that I've had forever. I actually just ordered a replacement. I thought about just getting the re-inker, but I mean, look at the surface of this thing. It's fraying, it's very old and well loved. So I said, what the heck, I'm just going to order a new one. All right, so give that a second to dry. It does dry pretty quickly, this ink, but just to be sure. So when we're looking at this page, since I want this to flip up like this, you want to insert whatever you're using in the right direction. Now this one, it's the same either way, so not such a big deal. But if the orientation matters for any reason, keep that in mind. So here's the main page. We're going to put this down. Focus. There we go. We're going to put that down and whoops. It'll be like this, and then we'll flip up, and there is the journaling. So you can kind of see here, you know, this is where it will be open. This is where the adhesive is. So once I put that down, it's going to flip, but I will still be able to get to the card because of this opening. So I'm going to put it down right now just so you can see how it's done. And then I will go back and do the journaling later. So pretty much you just want to line it up as best you can with the other photos that are there. And do this. Press it down. Now some people don't like the flips because they're bothered by that. The fact that you can see this little line here. To me, it really doesn't bother me, and I like the fact that I can get extra photos on there without having to do a whole lot of work. So I think it'll look quite nice here. Where's my 6x8 page? I moved it. I moved things and can't find it. So this should be pretty dry here. So we'll get an idea of what it's actually going to look like once it's in the page protectors. So again, here's the one that I took my inspiration from on Pinterest. Here's what I ended up with. And then here is the 2-page spread. So whoops, there we go. Center that a little better. So I think this turned out well. Still not super happy with this, but because it's going to pull off more gold if I lift it up, I'm just going to leave it. And then I have this side over here where I've pulled in some of that yellow and gold, made a little fun embellishment cluster here kind of, and then you'll flip up to get my journaling, and then you'll still get this underneath. So that is the finished layout. I don't think I'm going to do any other stamping or tags or anything on this. I really like that it is sort of simple and refined. So I think it's done. Thanks for watching, everybody.